Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Monday, the 15th of January. India-Israel signed 9 pacts to boost cooperation in defense, cybersecurity. Afghan President holds talks with UNSC members, calls for more pressure on Pakistan. An annual Muslim pilgrimage in Bangladesh ends with prayer for peace. And now for all the details. 5 militants of Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammad terror group were killed by security forces during an infiltration bid in India's Jammu and Kashmir province on Monday. The security forces also recovered a huge cache of arms and ammunition from the possession of the slain militants.
5 terrorists of Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammad militant group were killed and a huge cache of arms and ammunition were recovered by the security forces in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province on Monday. The anti-infiltration operation in Uri sector was aimed at foiling the infiltration bid by the terrorists ahead of India's Republic Day on January 26th. The joint operation involved the local police, Indian Army and Central Armed Police Forces or CAPF.
Large cache of arms and ammunition have been recovered. Of these, there are 4 AK-47s, 3 UBGLs and 38 UBGL grenades, about 23 hand grenades, 9 IEDs and many such warlike items were recovered from these terrorists.
Jammu and Kashmir province has witnessed numerous militant attacks and infiltration attempts from across the border in the last 2 decades. India accuses Pakistan of training and arming militants and helping them infiltrate across the line of control or LOC, a de facto border that divides Kashmir. Pakistan denies those allegations.
India and Israel on Monday inked 9 pacts to boost cooperation in key areas, including cybersecurity, after Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Israeli counterpart held extensive talks in New Delhi to strengthen strategic ties.
India and Israel on Monday inked 9 pacts to boost cooperation in key areas including cybersecurity and energy. The agreements were signed after extensive talks between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Israeli counterpart Benjamin Netanyahu for bolstering bilateral ties in strategic areas. While issuing a joint statement, the Israeli Prime Minister described his Indian counterpart Modi as a revolutionary leader. The 9 agreements include cooperation in the oil and gas sector as well as amendments to an air transport pact.
We're talking about cooperation in science and technology in every field, and we're talking about cooperation in defense so that our people are always safe and always secure. Indians and Israelis know too well the pain of terrorist attacks. We remember the horrific savagery in Mumbai. We grit our teeth, we fight back, we never give in.
In defense, I have invited Israeli companies to take advantage of the liberalized FDI regime to make more in India with our companies.
India and Israel have grown closer since Prime Minister Modi took office in 2014, widening commercial cooperation beyond their long-standing defense ties. Modi became the first sitting Indian Prime Minister to visit Israel last summer. During his 6-day-long visit, the Israeli leader will also visit India's financial capital Mumbai and Prime Minister Modi's home province, Gujarat.
Moving on, traders in Pakistan-administered Kashmir recently held massive protest in Muzaffarabad against the discriminatory surge in load-shedding hours in the region. Locals have long blamed Islamabad for exploitation of resources in the illegally occupied region and in return keeping them in the dark.
Traders in Pakistan-administered Kashmir recently blocked the Neelam Valley Road and burnt tires to show their anger against load shedding and damaged transformers in the area. The protest was called in Muzaffarabad city by the Anjuman Tajiran, a trade union, as local businessmen have been facing huge losses due to severe power cuts. The protesters raised anti-Pakistan slogans and blamed Islamabad for maintaining an indifferent attitude towards the people in the illegally occupied region. The police tried to disperse the protesters forcibly, causing major tension in the area.
कई बार यहाँ पे शिकायत दर्ज की हैं लेकिन फिर भी इनको कोई नास से मास नहीं है। जब से ये नून लीग की गवर्नमेंट बनी है लोग सरापा एहतजाज हैं और हम खुद भी इसकी पुरजोर मजम्मत करते हैं।
The protesters said that it is ironic that the hub of hydropower generation, Pakistan-administered Kashmir, suffers long and persistent power outages ranging from 4 to 12 hours. The region produces about 1,500 megawatts of electricity through hydropower, but fails to get its total requirement of 400 megawatt.
In news from Afghanistan, Afghanistan's President Ashraf Ghani on Sunday met a top-level UN Security Council or UNSC delegation that included US Ambassador Nikki Haley in Kabul. The Afghan presidential palace in a statement said the meeting was centered on topics like reforms, security, peace and regional cooperation and preparation for the upcoming elections. President Ghani requested continued UN pressure on neighbouring Pakistan, which Kabul accuses of harbouring Taliban insurgents. Along with Haley, representatives of China, Russia and Britain also took part in the meeting, which was not previously announced for security reasons. Ghani called the new US strategy important to bring changes in Afghanistan and the region. He emphasized joint efforts are required to move forward the Afghan peace process. More in news from Afghanistan. Representatives of the Afghan government on Sunday held unofficial talks with top Taliban leaders in Turkey. The details of the meeting were unknown, but they were expected to pave the ground for official peace talks between the two sides.
Afghan government officials on Sunday held unofficial talks with top Taliban leaders in Turkey. Humayun Jarir and Abbas Basir represented the Afghan government in the meeting. The details of the meeting were unknown, but they were expected to discuss mechanisms to pave the ground for official talks between the two sides. The meeting comes after Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, during a High Peace Council gathering in December last year, had said that the Taliban should come and sit with the government to reach a peace deal. During the gathering, members of the High Peace Council and religious scholars had suggested Ghani to allow the Taliban to open a political office in Kabul. They had suggested that the move will pave way for peace with the resurgent group.
In news from Bangladesh, hundreds of Muslims from across the globe were recently thronged to Bangladeshi capital Dhaka to attend the annual Islamic gathering of Jaish-e-Mohammad or World Congregation. The second largest congregation of the Muslim community, Ijtima, is held in two phases and focuses solely on prayer and meditation.
Scores of Muslims from across the world recently made their way to Tongi near the Bangladeshi capital Dhaka for an annual Islamic pilgrimage called Jaish-e-Mohammad or World Congregation. The festival, which is held in two phases every year, focuses on interpreting the true meaning of Islam's holy book, Quran. It is well known for being a non-political and peaceful celebration. The first phase of the pilgrimage ended on Sunday with a concluding prayer in which people prayed for their welfare and spiritual well-being.
এখানে সারা বিশ্বের মুসলমান আসে তো আমরাও আসছি এখানে সবাই সবার জন্য দোয়া করবে তো আমরা চাবো সবাই আল্লাহ পাক আমাদের এই উছিলায় সবার উছিলায় সবার হাতের উছিলায় যেন আমাদের দোয়া কবুল করে যে আমাদের যেই দিনগুলো যাবে যেন খুব ভালো যায়
এখানে এটা হচ্ছে হজের পরে দ্বিতীয় মুসলিম জামায়াত এখানে আমরা দেশের জন্য দশের জন্য মুসলমানদের জন্য মুনাজাত করতে এসেছি
The Jaish-e-Mohammad has been held at same site since 1966 and is organized by World Tabligh Council, which preaches teachings of Islam and Prophet Muhammad. The second phase of the Ijtima will begin on January 20 and will conclude on January 22nd.
People across India celebrated Makar Sankranti, a Hindu harvest festival, on Sunday by flying kites, eating traditional food and meeting with friends and relatives.
People across India celebrated Makar Sankranti, a Hindu harvest festival, by flying kites, eating traditional food and enjoying with their close kin on Sunday. People joined the riot of colors as participants introduced kites of different shapes and sizes and saw the kites flooding the skyline. International kite festivals are a huge crowd puller in several Indian metros as participants from across the world come to watch as well as take part in the festival.
We've really enjoyed it so far. There's a lot going on, a lot to see. It's been really insightful and we've really enjoyed our time here so far.
Makar Sankranti, which is celebrated every year on January 14th, also heralds the coming of spring. The annual kite flying festival involves aerial duels in which participants try to bring down each other's kites using string coated in a sticky paste of ground up glass or metal.
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, बहुत अच्छे हैं और खुद भी उड़ाने का मौका मिलता है इसमें. बहुत सारे काइट्स हैं. देखिए आप पूरा ऑल ओवर पूरा भरा हुआ है और खुद भी उड़ाते हैं तो और भी मजा आता है, तो बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है.
The festival also coincides with Uttarayan, celebrated in western Rajkot city, which marks the day of the Hindu calendar when the winters begin turning into summers. It is the country's largest kite festival, during which the entire city takes to the rooftops.
People in India's southern Tamil Nadu province celebrated the harvest festival of Pongal with great zeal and fervour as they conducted bull taming sport and offered prayers.
People in Madurai city of India's southern Tamil Nadu province celebrated the harvest festival of Pongal with great zeal and fervour as they conducted bull taming sport and offered prayers. Excitement level was at peak when the people took part in Jallikattu bullfights in which men wrestle with rampaging bulls. As per the tradition, garlanded bulls with vermilion marks on their heads are released into the crowd from an enclosed area and later they are chased by the participants amid loud cheers and whistling by spectators.
I think the bulls are incredible in there. They are so well decorated and obviously being very well revered. And I had a chance to go in there and walk and talk with everybody and get great photographs. Very colorful. And this is just an incredible festival.
The streets and roads were lit up in Coimbatore city with festive lights, and women marked the festival by making rangoli, a mural made of colored powders or flowers. Locals start preparing for the festival a night before. They cleanse the area and then cook traditional food which is offered at the temples.
Today is the first day of the Pongal. And the main thing we do in this today is it's celebrated in the honor of Lord Indra. So this is also called as Indra Day. And on this day, everybody, like from rich to the poor, everyone will clean their homes and take out all the unwanted and waste material and put it in the fire burn.
The festival also heralds the coming of spring and is celebrated in a number of ways like family gatherings, street food fairs and music.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. India-Israel signed the 9 pacts to boost cooperation in defence, cybersecurity. Afghan President holds talks with UNSC members, calls for more pressure on Pakistan. And annual Muslim pilgrimage in Bangladesh ends with prayer for peace. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsia Newsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsia Newsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.